Hi guys, welcome back. We're going on to our next Grimm fairy tale, which is The Frog Prince. Let's see if there's anything that sounds familiar to you guys. In the olden times, when wishing was some good, there lived a king whose daughters were all beautiful, but the youngest was so lovely that even the sun, that looked on many things, could not but marvel when he shone upon her face. Near the king's palace there was a large dark forest, and in the forest, under an old lime tree, was a well. When the day was very hot, the princess used to go into the forest and sit upon the edge of this cool well, and when she was tired of doing nothing, she would play with the golden ball, throwing it up in the air and catching it again, and this was her favorite game. Now on one occasion it so happened that the ball did not fall back into her hand, stretched up to catch it, but dropped to the ground and rolled straight into the well. The princess followed it with her eyes, but it disappeared, for the well was so very deep that it was quite impossible to see the bottom. Then she began to cry bitterly, and nothing would comfort her. As she was lamenting, that meant being sad. In this manner, someone called out to her, "What is the matter, princess? Your lamentations would move the heart of a stone." She looked round toward the spot whence the voice came and saw a frog stretching its broad, ugly face out of the water. "Oh, it's you, is it, old Splasher? I am crying for my golden ball, which has fallen into the water." "Be quiet, then, and stop crying," answered the frog. "I know what to do, but what will you give me if I give you back your plaything?" "Whatever you like, you dear old frog," she said. "My clothes, my pearls and diamonds, or even the golden crown upon my head." The frog answered, "I care neither for your clothes, your pearls and diamonds, nor even your golden crown. But if you will be fond of me, and let me be your playmate, sit by you at table, eat out of your plate, drink out of your cup, and sleep in your little bed, if you will promise to do all this, I will go down and fetch your ball." "I will promise anything you like to ask, if only you will get me back my ball." She thought, "What is this silly old frog chattering about? He lives in the well, croaking with his mates, and he can't be the companion of a human being." As soon as the frog received her promise, he ducked his head under the water and disappeared. After a little while, back he came with the ball in his mouth and threw it on the grass beside her. The princess was full of joy when she saw her pretty toy again, picked it up, and ran out without it. "Wait, wait!" cried the frog. "Take me with you. I can't run as fast as you can." But what was the good of his crying, "Croak, croak," as loud as he could? She did not listen to him, but hurried home and forgot all about the poor frog, and he had to go back to his well. The next day, as she was sitting at dinner with the king and all the courtiers, eating out of her golden plate, something came flopping up the stairs. Flip, flap, flip, flap. When it reached the top, it knocked at the door and cried, "Youngest daughter of the king, you must let me in." She ran to see who it was. When she opened the door and saw the frog, she shut it again very quickly and went back to the table, for she was very much frightened. The king saw that her heart was beating very fast, and he said, "My child, what is the matter? Is there a giant at the door wanting to take you away?" "Oh, no," she said. "It's not a giant, but a hideous frog." "And what does the frog want with you?" "Oh, father dear, last night when I was playing by the well in the forest, my golden ball fell into the water, and I cried. And the frog got it out for me, and then, because he insisted on it, I promised that he should be my playmate. But I never thought that he would come out of the water. But there he is, and he wants to come in to me." He knocked at the door for the second time and sang, "Youngest daughter of the king, take me up, I sing. Knowest thou not what yesterday thou to me didst stay? By the well and forest dell, youngest daughter of the king, take me up, I sing." Then said the king, "What you have promised you must perform. Go and open the door for him." So she opened the door, and the frog shuffled in, keeping close to her feet, till he reached her chair. Then he cried, "Lift me up beside you." She hesitated till the king ordered her to do it. When the frog was put on the chair, he demanded to be placed upon the table, and then he said, "Push your golden plate nearer, that way we may eat together." She did as he asked her, but very unwillingly, as she could easily be seen. The frog made it a good dinner, but the princess could not swallow a morsel. At last he said, "I have eaten enough, and I am tired. Carry me into your bedroom, and arrange your silken bed, that we may go to sleep." The princess began to cry, for she was afraid of the clammy frog, which she did not dare to touch, and which was now to sleep in her pretty little silken bed. But the king grew very angry and said, "You must now despise anyone who has helped you in your need." Despise means hate. So she seized him with 2 fingers and carried him upstairs. where she put him in a corner of her room. When she got into the bed, he crept up to her and said, "I am tired, and I want to go to sleep as well as you. Lift me up, or I will tell your father." She was very angry, picked him up, and threw him with all her might against the wall, saying, "You may rest there as well as you can, you hideous frog." But when he fell to the ground, he was no longer a hideous frog, but a handsome prince with beautiful, friendly eyes. And at her father's wish, he became her beloved companion and husband. He told her that he had been bewitched by a wicked fairy, and nobody could have released him from the spells but she herself. Next morning, when the sun rose, a coach drove up drawn by 8 milk-white horses, with white ostrich plumes on their heads and golden harnesses. Behind stood faithful Henry, the prince's body servant. That's the person who stands closest to the prince. The faithful fellow had been so distressed when his master was changed into a frog that he had caused 3 iron bands to be placed round his heart, lest it should break from grief and pain. The coach had come to carry the young pair back into the prince's own kingdom. The faithful Henry helped both of them into the coach and mounted again behind, delighted at his man's deliverance. That means he came back to himself. They had only gone a little way when the prince heard a cracking behind him, as if something were breaking. He turned round and cried, "Henry, the coach is giving way!" "No, sir, the coach is safe, I say. A band from my heart has fallen in twain, for long I suffered woe and pain, while you were frog within a well, and chanted war by a witch's spell." Once more he heard the same snapping and cracking, and then again. The prince thought it must be some part of the carriage giving way, but it was only the bands round faithful Henry's heart, which were snapping because of his great joy at his master's deliverance and happiness. It was a very cute story and a little interesting because the princess in it was not as kind as the princess we saw in Disney's Princess and the Frog. But the frog was very kind, and his manservant seemed like a really good, faithful fellow. I don't know if I'd want to marry the princess if she wasn't that kind to something as small, even if it was ugly like a frog. But that's why it's a fairy tale. Take care.